Hey everyone, welcome to this explainer. Listen, if you're gearing up for a technical SAP developer interview right now, you already know the stakes are just incredibly high. It's stressful, right? The SAP ecosystem is absolutely massive, blending decades-old legacy concepts with some really cutting-edge cloud technologies. But don't worry, we're going to look at exactly how the data suggests we tackle this together, so you can walk in there feeling completely prepared.
Okay, let's dive into this. Consider this explainer to be your ultimate mental map. We're going to navigate our way through the overwhelming ocean of ABAP acronyms, everything from DDIC to BOPI to RAP. We'll logically file away all this information so you know exactly which mental drawer to open when you're sitting right there in the hot seat.
But before we get into the real technical weeds, I want to take a second to validate all the hard work you're putting in. Did you know a massive 85% of SAP developers have actively used ABAP in just the past 12 months? Seriously, despite all the rapid changes happening in tech today, ABAP remains a heavily relied upon, highly in-demand skill for 2026 and well beyond. Your effort to master this tough subject is absolutely 100% worth it.
To lower your cognitive load, here is our thematic roadmap for today. We'll hit 1. Core fundamentals, 2. Reporting and data processing, 3. The enhancement framework, 4. Modern ABAP with S/4HANA, and wrap up with 5. Acing the interview.
Section 1. Core Fundamentals. Building the Foundation.
We absolutely have to start with the non-negotiables, because honestly, failing to understand these basic concepts usually ends an interview immediately. Let's kick off with the Data Dictionary, or DDIC. Think of this as the central blueprint of a giant building. Accessed via transaction SE11, it's the main repository that stores the metadata for your database objects, things like tables, views, domains, and data elements. If they ask you about the DDIC, frame it as the absolute foundation that ensures data consistency and integrity across the entire SAP system.
Now, what's really interesting about this comparison is that it is a classic high-frequency interview question. They'll ask you for the difference between a transparent table and a pooled table. You'll want to clearly distinguish them by stating that a transparent table has a one-to-one direct relationship with a physical database table, and its main job is to store application data, like your customer records. A pooled table, on the other hand, stores data from multiple logical tables inside a single physical table, and it is strictly used for system data. Let's move to and see how this builds into our second section, reporting and data processing, the engine room.
You know, interviewers absolutely love to ask practical, scenario-based questions. They want to see how you think on your feet. They might lean in and ask, imagine a client's custom report is running incredibly slow. Large volumes of data are causing system timeouts. How do you actually approach optimizing this? Well, based on top developer strategies, here is an actionable insider tip, a step-by-step checklist you should absolutely memorize. First, tell them you'd analyze the performance bottleneck using tools like STO5 for a SQL trace or SAT for runtime analysis. Second, and this is a big one, you eliminate the cardinal sin of ABAP, nested select statements inside of loops. Just don't do it. Third, ensure proper database indexing is being utilized. And finally, fourth, optimize memory by using for-all entries or reading from hashed internal tables instead of standard tables. Delivering that structured answer proves you've got real-world hands-on experience.
Section 3. The Enhancement Framework. Extending the system.
A simple way to think about enhancements is like adding a brand new extension to a house without tearing down the original walls. You're extending functionality without modifying the standard source code. When comparing how to do this, recruiters are listening closely for the distinction between baddies and user exits. Baddies, or business add-ins, are the modern approach. They're object-oriented, they're client-independent, and crucially, they allow for multiple implementations. User exits? Well, they're the old way. They are not object-oriented, they are client-dependent, and you can only have a single implementation.
Another major hurdle is the BAPI versus RFC comparison. A BAPI is a standardized programming interface that allows external access to SAP business processes. An RFC, or remote function call, is just the protocol that allows communication between systems. So the crucial point is this: while all BAPIs are RFC-enabled, not all RFCs are BAPIs. Make sense? BAPIs are specifically built for business objects.
Section 4. Modern ABAP and S/4HANA, the final boss. Mastering this modern era of SAP is literally what separates the average candidate from the top-tier hire. Let's walk through this evolutionary timeline. In the old way, which is classic ABAP on ECC systems, you dealt with SAP scripts, classical reports, and all the heavy data processing logic lived right there on the application server. In the new way, modern ABAP on S/4HANA, you are working with Adobe Forms or Smart Forms, interacting through sleek Fiori interfaces, and most importantly, utilizing code pushdown. This means moving that heavy processing directly down to the incredibly fast HANA database layer. So, the interviewer throws a major thematic hurdle your way to test you. They say, okay, how exactly do you modernize this legacy code? How do you actually push that logic directly down to the database?
This is where you introduce the newest SAP programming frameworks. First, you define RAP, the RESTful Application Programming Model. You explain that while older models lacked simplicity, RAP overcomes those flaws beautifully. It provides an intrinsic, standardized approach to building SAP Fiori-based applications that are highly optimized for S/4HANA and, of course, completely cloud-ready.
And this brilliantly illustrates our next tool. To make that pushdown happen, you need CDS, or Core Data Services Views. Because what's an SAP topic without another acronym, right? These are Advanced Data Modeling Objects. By using CDS views, you are actively executing that code pushdown paradigm we talked about. Instead of pulling massive tables into the application server just to filter them, you let the powerful HANA database do all the heavy lifting before the data ever even moves. This drastically improves system performance.
Section 5. Acing the interview with strategy and your survival kit.
Let's look at one last highly common scenario-based question, migrating legacy data into SAP. A perfect, well-structured answer goes exactly like this. Step 1. You validate and map the legacy data accurately. Step 2. You choose the right tool for the job, LSMW or BDC for structured loads, or IDOCS for large-scale system integrations. Step 3. If you're using BDC, mention that you prefer the session method so you can easily monitor and handle errors via transaction SM35. Step 4. You execute and monitor the transfer. Laying it out like this shows you don't just write code, you actually understand the overarching business process of a migration.
Finally, if they ask you what skills you are focusing on right now, you deliver this punchy, forward-looking survival kit. Tell them you are mastering Core Data Services, the RAP model, Fiori, and UI5 for user experience, OData Services for web integration, SAP BTP for the cloud, and AMDP for code pushdown. Listing these proves you aren't stuck in the past. You are fully ready for the future of ABAP.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a provocative question to ask yourself today. How do you plan to adapt your skills for the continuous, rapid evolution of the SAP ecosystem? The tech world never stops moving, and neither should we. Keep practicing, keep refining that mental map of yours, and go crush that interview. Thanks so much for learning with us today.